I would like to further add um, when as it relates to memory. I'd like to talk about the collective memory of the people known, like people that you would call people of color or people of African descent in the diaspora. Um, Oftentimes, what happens is that the dominant social group who holds the economic power tends to take a top down approach to the non dominant group. And in most cases throughout the world, people of color are definitely not a part of that dominant group that is outside of Africa per se. And many times, the dominant group uh, enforces um, through social pressures um, that and requests in many different nuances and overtly and covertly um, ways that blacks should forget their history. They'll straight up say, "Oh, forget it. It was a long time ago." So as a result, a outward symbol, blacks tend to take on an outward symbol or drape themselves in outward symbols to appear to forget. Many of them do forget over time as well. But how these symbols manifest themselves is through skin bleaching and the changing or altering of the hair texture through chemicals. Um, this collective amnesia is then passed down deliberately from generation to generation in various ways. Um, but anyway, it's passed down. How how do now the thing about it is that the irony is that the people of color who put on these trappings, basically it's like saying, okay, you have the power, I don't have the power. See, I'm conforming. See, I'm imitating you. I'm not a threat to you. But that's a whole different topic story again as to why the powerless would appear, as why the powerless would seem to be a threat to the empowered dominant group. Now, what'll happen is that what will happen? How could I put this? Yeah, so how does one break this spell? One would break this spell by learning the history of the black uh, people of African descent globally, as well as learning African history and learning pre-colonial history as well, learning history from scholars who whose narrative is unbiased, learning one's own community history and learning the history of one's family and interpreting that history through one's own lens. If what is happening is that the people of color in the diaspora community are what I would call suffering, or what is happening to them is they're experiencing a slow collective historical um, memory loss, um, amnesia, like a genocidal amnesia. The amnesia is like a spiritual, mental genocide. Yes, the amnesia is a spiritual and mental genocide that they are experiencing. So, through the study of historical texts, I would assert that one could come back to a healthy state, mental state, historical, that they could pass on to future generations. They just have to go back and simply remember the instruction that were passed down by the ancients. Man, know thyself. This goes back all the way back to the to Egypt, to the lodges in Egypt. Um, Man, know thyself. So with that, um, I would say I'll leave it there.